moving to the topics, just wanted to check, do you guys have any doubts?
Hello.
Yeah, Venu, hi.
Shik, are you able to hear me?
I can hear you, Venu.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm having internet issue.
No worries, happens. So we didn't start with anything, Venu. Just we were discussing like about the doubts and anything as such. So, I mean, you have any doubts? You can discuss them before I start with the today's topic.
Yeah, actually, Abhishek, in the last session, I'm getting confusing with the roles and selective access, that stuff which I am not able to understand.
Okay. So, I mean, would you like to, I mean, can you tell like which thing you didn't understand? Or like you didn't understand the entire thing? Don't say that you didn't understood entirely.
No, I don't say like that. So basically, first, which I need to whether I should go for role or selective access. So basically, I'm not getting what exactly the difference between these two, and what steps do we need to take if, for example, if I am the person who wants to give access for the Ramakrishna or actually something else, some other person. So first of all, we need to create a role. After that, what should I do? So based on my requirements, so I want to give for both role as well as the selective access. So how it is going to be useful to other person as well as me. So what steps do I need to take initially?
Okay, we'll go one by one. We'll go one by one. Okay. Okay. So, anyone would like to answer? Okay, Ramakrishna or Karthik, would you like to pitch in here?
No, I missed that class.
Sorry, I didn't get the question actually. I missed.
Can you please help again, please? Maybe I can try helping
you. Sorry, can you come again? What's the question?
Yeah, Akhil. So before creating role or any selective access, so I want to give access to you, especially for you. So what steps do I need to take?
Okay, first I think in the user, Abhishek can correct me, but in the user, I think you should first add my particular ID or whatever you have to give to add my ID and assign role to me. Like there are some rules, like full access is a default one. That Abhishek showed HR or whatever roles that you create, right? If you have any role, you can give assign that particular role to me, or by default it will be full access. And the next step would be identifying which selective access. Like if you have assigned any selective access for any list, there are a lot. By default, it will not be selected. In the list, general list, if you go there, for every list that you have created, there will be Boolean option for selective access. So if for any particular list, if you want to give a selective access, you have to check that. And then you have to come back to users one. There for that role, if you have assigned my HR role, and let's say for employee list, if you have selected selective access, you don't want everybody to see that. In HR, you can select that, okay, whether you want to give access to employee list for HR. And if you select that, that will be indirectly, because since you have assigned HR role to me, then it will be assigned to select access will be given for that list to me. So the whole point is first you have to, I think in user, you have to add my email ID and assign a role to me. And based on whatever role that has access, that access will be granted to me.
Okay. And when do we use role and when do we use selective access?
So roles will be, I think first you have to select the role. I mean, in the sense, roles will be based on the particular, as the name suggests, right? It's for the role. For example, selective access is only for the lists. Okay. Role will be based on the user level. You are assigning the role to me or to Karthik or to Ram, right? It is on the user level, but selective access is on the list. There are lists, and for that one particular list, let's say employee, you don't want everybody to access that list, right? You want
Okay.
only selective people to access least when there is a requirement that only that particular list you should give access to only certain people. Then you will select that selective access for that list.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
which user you want, that you will select based on the role.
Okay.
Is it right, Abhishek? Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. I got it. Your point. Thank you. My doubt is clear, Abhishek. It's pretty good. Actually, I am getting a bit confusing between these two, role and selective access. When do we use role and when do we use selective access? So what steps do we need to take initially? So all this stuff, I was not able to getting these steps, but yeah, now I'm getting pretty good.
Are you sure? Because I mean, I did understood.
Yeah, I understand, Abhishek.
Sure.
So actually, yeah, sure. Actually, saying that a role, when do we use role and when do we use selective access? If we are going to be in summarize, when do we use the role? If you are going to be taking for the HR role or finance role or something else, we are going to be creating role and add the people. And within the role, if you are going to be showing specific list, so in that case, we are going to be using selective access.
Okay.
Yeah, when before enabling select access, you have to configure that one.
Okay.
In configure is option.
Yeah.
There you have to enable that list, that select access enable.
Okay.
Only you will come. You will get access to.
Yeah, in list we have an option. Selective access.
Yes.
Okay.
So Venu, I mean, does that help,
Abhishek.
or is it like some blah 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 going on?
No. It helps me, Abhishek.
Okay, that's fine. Kartik, for you, it's all study, right? Probably I'll try to share the recordings today at anyhow.
Yeah.
But still, I'm not sure. Like, I'm in touch with Gitanjali for this. Okay. All right, guys. So we'll get started with today's topic, and that is like dynamic cell access, that is DCA, just again an advanced level of security, which we are going to be discussing about. So before we start, since Venu did have this question, and I am still not very sure, everyone is aware about role and selective access, like obviously Akhil explained very beautifully. I'll just, have a quick overview of what we discussed in the terms of roles and selective access, so that even Karthik is also aligned with the topics. And obviously it will be a quick revision for all the other folks as well. So just a brief overview. When I say role, selective access, and dynamic cell, you guys can hear me, right?
Yes, Abhishek.
Okay, awesome. So when I say role, selective access, or dynamic cell access, so these are the terms mostly related with the securities in Anaplan. So when I talk about roles, it allows access to people on the basis of group on certain modules, actions, lists, or whatsoever. So Venu, especially I'm telling it for you, okay? You just let me know if you are having still doubts, okay?
Yeah, sure, Abhishek.
Okay. So role is more related with a group of people. So group of people could be like, in your organization, there could be an HR set of people who belongs from HR department. And obviously salary is a sensitive data. And suppose your financial planning or some model is having the salary of each and every employee. So obviously you will restrict the access to that particular module, which is having the salary data of employees, to all other employees other than the HR. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be providing a selective access, and you will make sure that the HR people can only see what is there in the module which contains the salary data. Similarly, I mean, if there are like, there's the entire supply chain planning where there's a demand model, dispatch model, inventory model, and you want to make sure like, the people who are assigned to certain function, business function, maybe only the inventory person should be seeing what is there in inventory modules, or the dispatch people should be seeing the dispatch modules. So if you want to do something like that, maybe what you can do is like, maybe again, you can create a role, and under there, you're going to be assigning some modules which they can see or what they can have an access to. And accordingly, you can just control their access, whatever they have. For an example, if I just show you the users tab, here you have an option of creating the roles. So roles, suppose I just create one role like inventory planner. So this is one role which I have created, and obviously I can make sure like what read-write access I want to give. So these modules, if I suppose currently the inventory planner role doesn't have these access. Okay, now if I want to give an access of maybe the read to Rev02 volume inputs, and maybe write to Rev03 margin calculations, and maybe just arbitrarily I'm taking and read again to EMP01 employee driver. And similarly, I can assign the roles to the versions, roles to the list. So maybe I can make sure like, inventory planner can see this, or maybe even the actions. Once I'm able to do that, probably if I have a set of users, all the username which you see here, there is a model role which you have to assign. So for an instance, like maybe for Akhil, I want to assign it the inventory planner role. And what will happen now, the Akhil will be able to see what is the read write access assigned to inventory planner, because he has the role of inventory planner. So what in turn it happens in general, roles, when you give an access on the basis of roles, what exactly you are doing is you are controlling the behavior, or maybe you can assign the same role to a set of people. I create one role. Under one role, I can restrict certain access. Okay, I can provide some access, I can restrict some access and all. And that same role I can assign to multiple people. So for an example, in my Anaplan model, if there are 3 roles defined, maybe even if there are 200 users, they will fall under any of these 3 roles only, and their access would be pretty similar to these 3 sets of process, or 3 sets of security which you have added. So that is how your role works. Okay. And talking about the selective access is more like you have the list, and that's going to be an access to list data, and that's user specific. So as soon as you enable the selective access to any of the lists out here, so for example, we have enabled it for P1 products, P2 products, and even departments. So for each list, on the basis of each username, so you see here, Akhil is there, Ramkrishna is there. So P1 product family, I mean, wherever we have, included this selective access option, so these username have this P1, P2, read, write, and all. So one by one, what we are doing on the basis of the users, we are assigning it here. Selective access on the basis of user one by one, right? So you see all 300 users, I have to assign a specific selective access for them. But when you compare it with the role, there could be 3 access which you define in role, and those 3 roles could be floated around different multiple users. Okay, so it's selective access is more like one-to-one. Your role is like many-to-one. Okay, in the terms of security which you provide. And obviously you can restrict the access, read, write, and blah, 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 whatever, and so on. So, I mean, that was a quick overview of what we discussed the other day. Karthik, probably, I mean, you can have the recording soon. Maybe you can watch through that. And Venu, I hope that helps you and other folks as well.
Yes.
Yes, Abhishek.
All right. So in that case, we are going to be moving with another level of security, and that is called a dynamic cell access, or DCA, probably commonly known as. Okay. So just give me a second. Let me. So if I tell you about DCA, it is the access which is like more level of, I mean, here you have the more level of granularity. You will go to a specific cell type itself. Okay. So here you will go to a specific cell of a module and you will decide whether a read or write access could be given or not. So if I just tell you, so DCA rather control access to individual line items or cell within the module or on dashboard grids. Okay, just reiterating once again, DCA control access to individual line items or cell within modules and on dashboard grid. So right now, what do you saw? I mean, in the selective access, you have an access of list. In a role, you have an access, or where you can restrict the access to the module lists and blah blah blah. DCA level of granularity, you can just check in here. You are talking about, you know, providing an access to the line item or cell within the module. So it's very, very granular, right? So here you can grant permission to read, write, or view info in the line item. So like well, similar to what you can do in role and selective access as well, you have an option of read, write, and view info in line item. So, I mean, obviously, I'll just show you guys into the exercises, I mean, practically, but just giving a small little overview so that you guys can be a little aligned once we start doing it practically over here. So in a selective access, in a dynamic cell access, if I talk about, there is a concept of access driver module. There is a concept of access driver module. So what is more like, you know, access is configured using a Boolean in other module that you create. And when you are going to be building a module that will use DCA, you are going to be controlling it on the basis of these access driver modules. Now, I pretty much understand that's going to be a little bit blah, blah, blah. What I'm telling, it's going to be a little confusing. So, you know, we'll just get started with the practical and then we'll see. You know, we'll come back again and we'll see all these definitions and theoretical angles. How is all that? So we'll just get started with that and we'll see how it could be performed. So I just removed selective access. I mean, it's not required for you to remove the selective access when you are working with DCAs. I just removed that because it was restricting certain access to me. So what I have done till now is like I have just created one access driver module. Okay, that's the concept of access driver module. So nothing much here. This is a normal module which is based upon the basis of time as a dimension, and there are two line items, yes or no. The format is going to be a Boolean. We'll understand why we are doing this. Now I'm just searching one module where I can, put in the DCA, or where the requirement of DCA could be possibly. So just having a quick look. All right, so we have a module Rev02 volume inputs, okay? And here we are going to be, maybe using a DCA, like how this DCA could work. Or better, I'll take a module which has at least, two line items, if not more. Here we had, okay, this looks fine. Unit price and unit cost. Maybe, we are going to be using the DCA over here in this module. Okay. So till now, what I've done, I have just created one access driver module. And like I mentioned, access driver module is more like, access is going to be configured using a Boolean, another module that you create. So access to Rev01 price book, okay, read or write, is going to be governed by this module which you have created, the access driver module. Not much we perform over here. It's just like you create two line items. Those are Boolean formatted. Now, how to put in the DCA, it's more like, if you will go to the blueprint view of the module where you want to provide in the DCA, and there you will come, you'll see an access, a read access driver, write access driver. So these are the factors which governs your DCA, and how it could be used. It's more like, obviously, I need to go to the Rev01 price book DCA, not to the access driver module. Again, when you put in DCA, you are going to be putting into the Rev01 price book model. So you want to provide the dynamic cell access to Rev01 price book, not to your access driver module. So this activity is going to be performed in the target module, that is Rev01 price book module over here. And what I need to do is, maybe I'll currently, if you just have a quick glance, currently your each end module has that write access. Okay. Both line items you can write over there. Now, what I'm going to be doing is like, maybe I'm just going to be using some option. And when I click on this drop down read access driver, I see few of the line items, module name dot line items, module name dot line items. Any guess, guys, why you see these module, or what is the similarity between these different line items contained from different modules?
Same time period.
Okay, so Ram Krishna said same time period, or Karthik said?
Yeah, Karthik.
Okay, sorry, Karthik said same time period. How about other guys? What do you feel? Is there any relation between these line items? Just a vague random guess, you can do that. Just observe a quick naming conventions.
Because of dimensions.
Okay. Any other possibility? Just observe the naming convention, how the naming conventions are. Is there any similarity between these different line items which are out here?
Maybe Boolean type
Boolean
format.
Yeah, absolutely. So what happens, like I told you something like in your in your access driver module, you create Boolean line items. Okay, and those Boolean line items are going to be the one which will be used to control the access, read or write of these line items which are there in your probably Rev01 price book module at this time. So how it works, it's more like whatever the Boolean line items that are throughout this model, reiterating once again, whatever the Boolean line items are throughout this model, those line items could be as an drop-down option in your read or write access driver when you are working with DCA. So like I mentioned, DCAs are going to be governed with these Boolean line items. So that is the reason why, you know, when you are creating the access driver module, you don't need to do anything additional over there. You just create a Boolean line item and, you know, you will see the options coming in. So what options I have, like unit price, maybe I want to give an access that is yes, that the pupil should be able to have and read access. Whereas when it comes to unit cost, maybe I want to give an access no, something similar on these lines. Now what you see out here, currently you don't have an access over here, correct? You can't either read or write it over here, anything. Reason being, you have enabled the DCA and the unit price is yes, and access driver over here is no for the another line item that is unit cost. So what you need to do is maybe you need to go to the access driver module and you're going to be just enabling these options. Yes. What a better way could be for no is if not yes, then no. Okay. So maybe I'll just write a formula. Oh, it's going to be wrong. Okay. It's awesome. It works. So what I have done right now is I have created Boolean two Boolean line items, which are contrary to each other. If it is yes, it's going to be no automatically by default. So whatever the values are yes, the other value will be no. Fair enough, right? That's how our formula is working. Okay, all right. So if I disabled, the no gets enabled. Now, what happens? Currently, I have read access enabled in Jan and Feb. Okay. So if I just have a quick glance, how the access thing is working currently, access driver, read access driver is yes for unit price. So access driver, no. Still can't do anything out here. Can you guys guess what's happening? So currently their read is yes. So unit price, wherever it's going to be yes. Okay. Though there, suppose this is governed by here at this place. Okay. So currently access driver, wherever it is yes, and there is an access driver no. So over here, the unit cost, you can read everything. Okay, you can't write anything. So ideally, if I just randomly think of, if I'm enabling this option, this one should be readable, right? And this one shouldn't be, correct? No, yes?
Yes, yes. That's what I'm expecting.
I mean, that's what we are expecting to work in this fashion.
Yeah.
But just let me show you. So when access driver is yes, that is the Boolean is enabled over here. Values over there should have been yes. Now, let me just change it to no over here once again. So currently each and everything I can see. Okay.
It's working other way.
No, just think what is happening actually. There's one thing which is missing over here. Okay. And that is your time dimensions.
Yeah.
So again, a quick learning, quick thing to observe. So what you're doing here, you are controlling it on the basis of the time, right? Jan, Feb, March. Do you have data over here which is based on time? No, right?
Yes. No, we don't.
So if you don't have the data which is based upon the time, everything is vague for you currently, right? So it's not working as appropriately. And obvious reason, you understand why. No? Yes?
Yeah, we got it. Time period.
Time is not there.
Yeah.
You don't know like for which time period you're enabling. So here it doesn't understand like which time period you're talking about. Here it isn't there isn't a time dimensions which is out here. Okay.
But still, it should at least not show, and it should show everything. It's for read. It is not showing.
How it works like in Anaplan, like I mean your Anaplan will not be guessing. Okay. The system will not guess. I mean, if you are enabling in Jan 19, what you mean actually, because here it doesn't find anything as such. If there would have been a time dimension additionally, then you would have seen those, flickering happening. I'll show you in some time, but at least at this point of time, you are not seeing anything because time dimension is not there. Okay.
Now, if we change that access driver from time to location, because that's what I think.
Okay. So which access driver you're talking about, here or here?
Here, the access driver, it is based on time, right? Instead of time, if we put
obviously, that looks more practical, what Akhil says. So let's try to put maybe P2 products here as a dimension. Okay. Are you guys, everyone is with me, right? Venu, you understanding what is happening, what we are trying to do? Yes, no? Venu? Venu doesn't want to say anything. You're on mute, Venu. How about Karthik Ramkrishna? You are getting? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we are getting.
Understands what is happening.
Yeah, we got.
Okay. Venu, you can't hear me? Are you there? So I'm just removing the time scale. Okay. And now what I'm doing is I'm enabling or disabling the DZA on the basis of the dimension that is products. Okay. And let me just do it the other way around. So unit price, maybe yes. And it's no. So what we expect, obviously, either you can enter unit price, either you can enter unit cost. That's what will happen, right? Because access driver, we have given it on the basis of yes or no. And yes or no, it either can be yes or either can be no on the basis of this product. So what you can conclude? Either you can enter the unit price, read at this point of time, or either you can read unit cost, right? That's what we have given here.
Yeah.
You guys okay? No? Confused? I'll tell you.
No. Yes, it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay, right?
Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. So you have this line item, yes or no enabled accordingly. If I would have given yes over here as well, then the probability of no gets ruled out. Okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. I'll just, it will be governed by this line item and you will see everything out here. But the way we are doing right now is, we are just flickering it. Okay. Either yes or either no on the basis of unit price and unit cost. And that's the reason why you see it's getting controlled. Okay. So these options you see, it's getting checked. Another option is obviously the option of write. So it could be like, either it's going to be read, just forget about this line item for this point of time. Okay. So over here in read access driver, one thing you can do is for unit price, either you can have a read access enabled or either you can have a write access enabled. Okay. So for an example, I do it no over here. Now let's have a quick look. What happens? So either you can read one line item or either you can write on another line item. That's how we are governing it, right? Because again, it's the flip which will happen. So if I just disable the yes option for cookie crumbs, so the cookie crumbs,
We can write here.
It's only for unit price. Okay, forget about unit cost here. So either you can read, either you can write. Correct? That's what we are governing it from the access driver module, which you have created just now. We understand this?
Yes, yes.
What I'll do is like instead read, I'll just disable this, and I'm going to be giving the access driver for write for my second line item as well. And unit price and unit cost, maybe it's getting checked again on the basis of these booleans. So either you can enter here or you can enter here. So if you are entering here, obviously you can't enter here. That's how the story is, right? Even if I'm just double clicking here, nothing happens. If I double click here, I see the cursor, blinking. That means, maybe I can enter some values out here. So now the point is, these access driver module, one thing we saw, that was control on the basis of the, the dimensions which you are using. So when we initially tried using it with the time dimension, since the time dimension wasn't there, we were not seeing, any changes. But even practically, if you think of, that was entirely vague, because you wanted to control on the basis of the time, the target module, that is Rev01 price book. And here the Rev01 price book didn't have an option of time itself. So that concept gets ruled out. And in turn, what happens, like it's not required at all, right? So you need to be sure of few things that when you are working with DCA, that is probably you need to have an access driver module. The concept and the idea of the access driver module, it's more like the access driver module will have the line items as Boolean. Dimensions could be anything. We just saw like it's not going to be restricted to the time dimension only. It could be anything on the basis of any dimensions. And then you have this target module where you want to provide in or add in the DCAs, and you can just play around with whether you want to give read access driver or whether you want to give the write access driver module. Okay, now the reason why I showed you the first one related with the time dimensions and all, in your learning.anaplan.com, in your level 2, there is going to be a wonderful video of DCA. They have explained beautifully. But, every example which they have explained, that was on the basis of time dimension only. So, just to be your guys to be educated on the point, like it's not only restricted to time, it could be restricted to another dimension as well. I just showed you this example into the sessions. I strictly recommend do watch the video of DCA. They will ask you to download an app as well of DCA. Just download that. They have explained very beautifully everything. And obviously, if you will have issues in understanding anything over there, you can let me know. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same. There's no new thing which they will, tell you, or which you will not understand, or which will be out of the box for you guys. So it's going to be pretty much same over here, there as well. So one thing you can pretty much conclude that these access driver modules, okay, can be used throughout the model itself. Okay. Now, when I say it could be used throughout the model, like you have your Rev01 price book module currently, right? So it's not restricted that, you use only this line item in this module itself. If you are okay that, your module, different module will be controlled on the same fashion which is there in this access driver module, you can very well conclude, or you can very well use this access driver line items in lot of different modules throughout the model itself. Okay, so it's not like, you have used this access driver module in these line items in Rev01 price book, so you can't use this in another module. You can very well use that, and that's not going to be an issue.
And if the other module has time dimension, not the products.
That's again a good question. So if that module has a time dimension, then you need to accordingly draw your access driver modules now. Create a new one. You got it, right?
Yeah.
So if you think, these dimensions suffice your cause, you can very well use that. If you think you don't, okay, so in that case, obviously, you need to draw a different access driver module. And that's going to be obviously based upon the dimension time, which is going to be used.
Got it.
Okay. So you can have multiple access driver module. Obviously, it's not a constraint or anything as such. Okay. Now, a question could be like, where practically you're going to be using DCA. So obviously you will see lots and lots of, maybe scenarios in days when you start working. But if I just tell you one scenario where it could be used practically, okay, just think of, suppose there is an activity, there's a monthly activity which goes on till 5th of every month. The planners, or like, let's take an example. Again, I'll not confuse the terminologies, these planners and blah, blah, blah. There, suppose, you have something like, just imagine a scenario, give unit price and unit cost. Okay. Or let me draw in a different module quickly. Okay. Just give me a second. So I'll just create one line item that is like more like monthly. Or maybe number of shift. Okay. So what is this more like, so you have this different list of employees. Okay. Different employees are there, correct? This is what an employee list is, right?
Yes.
So what you need to do is like number of days they have worked in shifts in January 19. So every month you have this, right? Shift allowances you get. Okay. So the ask over here is more like till 5th of every month. Okay. Till 5th of every month, you have an option where you want to make sure like someone from the HR or even the users, these people, this Shala, Ota, Cindy, and all everyone have an option to enter the number of days they have worked. Okay. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll just, take this line item. Okay. Take these dimensions, rest other line items I'll hide, and I'll just publish it on the dashboard. You guys are getting what I mean? No? Yes? No? Then tell me. I'll just quickly draw it.
Abhishek, can you please?
Okay, I'll draw it. I'll draw it. I'll draw it. I'm just telling you an example, guys, for DCA. There could be multiple. I'm just trying to create one scenario. And I just want you guys to follow as well what I'm doing so that, you guys can pretty much conclude, when you have things to do something on these lines, what are the activities or the steps which you can, maybe just use that. So I just created one grid chart, and I'm going to be using EMP02 employee expense. And what I want is like obviously time. I don't want to show the summaries. I just want to show the details. And number of days work in shift. So this was my line item, and I'm gonna be showing it off. I don't want these to be changed, and then allow editing is enabled. Okay, and I'm just publishing it. Okay, now I'm just creating another page. Okay, I'll show you what exactly I'm doing. So again, I'm just going to be publishing this access driver module that is probably is going to be controlling the access of the other page. Okay, so here I have this. Okay, so maybe I need to just join another access driver module now, because this will not work. I just want it on the basis of time here, like Akhil mentioned. What if you have something like time? Yes and no. So I'll create this line item as Boolean. So these are Boolean line items now, and I just go over here. I'm going to be creating a write access driver. So these are the 1, 2 which are triggering, which will be triggered. I'm just refreshing this and then just publishing an access driver for allowances here. And obviously I don't need the time summaries. So I'm just removing that and just publish this. Okay. Okay, so it's in the new tab now. All right, so currently, suppose there's an activity which goes like, till every 5th of month, you want the employees to have the flexibility where they can enter the number of days they have worked in shifts in the last month. Okay, and you want this power to be only till 5th of month. Okay, so what you will do is like maybe some HR person is there. So he will go and he will just enable the option. Okay, just give me a second. Let me allow editing here. Okay. Now the activity of that HR person will be like till every 5th of month, he will keep this option as yes. Okay. So as soon as he will keep this yes, what happens? The employees will have an option to enter how many days they have worked in shifts, correct? For this month.
Yes.
So suppose I that tell each and every employee till 5th of every month, you need to enter the number of days you have worked in shift. If you don't enter till 5th, obviously the HR roles has to be payout roles and all that has to be managed. So if you don't enter till maybe 5th, or maybe if we can flip it the other way, like till 31st of every month, in those scenarios, otherwise, you will miss the allowance that you will be getting that particular month. Okay, so this option will be only enabled till 30 or till last date of month. Okay, fair enough. You guys are getting what I mean, or confused, or did I said some confusing statements? Okay, so what I said, like till every last day of month, the HR will keep this option enabled. As soon as you don't enter the allowance or the number of days you have worked in shifts till last date of that month, you ideally shouldn't have an option now. You want to restrict that. Okay. So for an example, I have enabled this for January 19. So in January 19 till 31st of January 19, Shala can enter and come and enter like, okay, number of days she worked was 22. Otha maybe can come and enter and he can just place it like he worked for maybe 20. Okay.
Yes.
And maybe what the HR responsible for the payouts, he can come and do is he will just have a quick glance like, okay, these are the dates on which they have worked. And post, as soon as I'll move to the next month, I'll keep this option no. And again, I'll just enable the Feb option now. So if I just refresh this will not be editable now, correct?
Editable.
This gets locked. And you are just enabling it again for this Feb 19 data. So again, Shala in February comes in and she mentions like, okay, I worked in maybe like 18 days. Similarly, each and every employee can come and enter their days on which they have worked. And as soon as its Feb is completed, I'll keep this as no once again. Okay, I'll remove this option and this will get locked. You guys are getting right how we are using DC over here.
Yes.
So similarly, there could be lots of other places, like there are planners where they have to make a decision till 5th or till 15th of month. They can enter some data. After that, you want to lock the data which they can enter. So in those scenarios, you can use the DC, and there could be lots and lots of other cases as well if you want to restrict it practically. So that's one example which I just wanted to cover in the terms of DCA. So what you guys can do is you can just go through the DCA that's gonna be in your sprint 2. Go through that exercise on training as well, and we'll discuss if you guys will have any problems or anything as such. Okay, in the next session.
Yeah.
All right. So by the way, do you guys want to have session tomorrow?
No, New Year.
So let's park it for tomorrow. We'll meet on Sunday then, on 2nd. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Then. Okay. Chalo. Happy New Year in advance, guys. We'll catch
Yeah.
up on
Same to you, everyone. Yeah.
Same to you. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Happy New Year, guys.
Yeah.